My name's Sean Badeer. I live in Denver, Colorado. I am a part of a church called Anchor Church in Denver. It's like a 3-year-old church plant, and I've been in ministry for about 10 years. I started at a large church up in northern Colorado that I worked at for about 5.5 years, and before doing the work that I do now. So I got into ministry through a little dying Bible college that I worked at in the Midwest where I grew up. It was this crazy situation where I worked at this school that I didn't go to, and got to meet a bunch of churches that were unlike any churches I'd been a part of before. Churches that really inspired me and it gave me a vision for like how a church could be a part of the work that God wants to do in communities. And I chased hard after that, right after leaving that school. It got me into my first church job that I worked at, and I still think about that. The things that God was doing in my life then, I think are still things I care deeply about now. What's unique about my role right now at the church plant is, I came from working at the really large church to working at this church that is like, in a really bad rental space every weekend and is just like trying to make every weekend happen, And the challenges of just, not just in the variety of things I do in my role, but just in what it takes at that level to really just make it happen is, I think, what I'm really, that's what I feel like I'm up against right now. I think, when we're a church that when I started going there, it was probably 60 people, and we're growing. We're at a place where we have about 150 people there right now, which is exciting. We have 2 services and we have just so much good stuff happening. But what I think we're up against constantly is our systems. As boring as that is to say, it's just like, since I've joined, I have been labeled the systems guy, which is kind of hilarious because that's just not my personality at all. It's not what my wife would say I'm really good at, but it's like just the most important thing right now to helping us be able to just consistently serve people well. And I think that's the thing that I'm really seeing right now just about ministry across the board is that I think God's still doing amazing work in people's lives. He's still doing the work that only he can do to transform people and to draw them near to himself. And at churches, we just have this unique opportunity to make the most of the opportunity God's giving us each weekend. That we have this stewardship responsibility to care well for these people. The systems matter a lot at our stage right now because we're getting, I'm not the lead pastor. I work in this associate role, but because of our church's, story of 3 years old, a lot of people that have stuck around and that are deeply invested they're closely relationally connected with our lead pastor, right? And so we have that natural connection. Eventually you just run out of how many people you can serve that way. And we're already beyond our ability to do that. So systems matter a lot because we have to have systems that help other people understand how to serve people well, and have to have systems that help people get the context. When I started, it's just like, I don't know anybody and I'm trying to figure out all these nuanced relationships and who's related to who and who used to date this person but now is dating this person. It's like all that stuff. I think systems have helped us with that. And then it's just for the general operations of our weekend to make sure that things function well and that it like is consistently easy for people to get connected who want to get connected. Like that takes intentional work in building stuff. I think we are still at a place as a church where we don't really know what it means to have someone be fully engaged, other than what it's been for us is like, how often do we see them? Like, do we see them every weekend? If we don't see them for a weekend, we're like worried that they, that something's going on or that they just left for whatever reason. So Yeah, we don't have good measurements for engagement right now. I think you have the things you can count on that you can see, like attendance and giving. And I think the thing that I love the most that's happening right now is baptisms. We just have these unbelievable stories of people who are getting baptized and can't put their foot in the tank. They have their ankle monitor on, hanging out of the tank while they get baptized, and it's that stuff is just so inspiring and so cool to be a part of. But beyond those things, we have a hard time tracking it right now. And I think our system building and the things that I care about helping us with are about helping us figure out how to better know what people are really engaged in what we're doing. Yeah, one of my favorite stories just recently was this guy who he started coming because of his girlfriend. Like he started coming because of her faith and her engagement, and his story is unbelievable. I mean, his brother, who was like an Irish twin brother, like he watched him pass away, or he was around in some capacity when his brother was killed. And he went through that, and like I think God started doing an incredible work in him that he didn't understand yet. And it was through coming to Anchor that he really started to recognize God's presence in his life in a new way. And so his first weekend was a baptism Sunday at Anchor, and he saw it happen. And that prompted the thought for him to get baptized. So he got baptized, and then his dad came, who was estranged to him. They did not have a good relationship. His dad came to watch him get baptized, and his dad got baptized at the next one that we did. And I see the like generational stuff like that happen, and it just blows me away. Like that's the stuff, the work that only God can do, that we get the opportunity to just be a small part of. Yeah. So one thing that's really different between being at the large church and being at this church right now, and I don't know that it's actually that different, it just feels different to me, is like the amount of just reliable leaders you have on hand at this kind of church versus this church that's growing and seeing this amazing stuff happen. Like the stuff that's like my favorite thing to be a part of, and I just love that it's happening every weekend. Also makes it really hard for us to help people get discipled, because we have a lot of work to do to just help our people grow as leaders and grow in owning. And I think, like, if I think about what I think the church is up against across the board, I really think it has to do with leadership. And for me, that comes down to the fact that I still think God's doing the amazing work that he does. He's still doing it. And what I feel like we're up against in the church is we are a little bit being exposed right now for not developing young people well in ministry and not giving people a good early journey in ministry that helps them stick it out. And I spend time in the church staffing space and see that the reason why I think it is so hard to find people for these positions is because we just have not successfully brought up a younger generation in ministry. And so I care deeply about helping us do that. That even, whether it's at the church that is 3 years old and has leadership problems with just helping our congregants grow, or the big church that has resources but needs to consistently develop young people better for those hires that they're going to need to make. We need all those churches to just have a new investment in the next generation going into ministry. What I would say to somebody who's struggling in ministry right now, and I have a unique opportunity to talk to a lot of people in this place just through my work in staffing, is I'm with you, first of all. Like, I think I'm up against a lot of frustrations in my environment right now that I have to focus on the great parts of it constantly, because you just, if you have a vision at all for what you hope the church is and the church does, if you have a vision at all, then you will constantly be frustrated falling short of that vision, which I just believe I think that's a natural part of the journey. But I think there are some things, especially now, that are just really, really difficult in ministry for people that are that are in this for what I think are really pure reasons and really good reasons. Uh, there is just always in ministry, you're just always up against like it's this mirror. If I wish it wasn't this way, but it just is. It's like this mirror to your personality a little bit, and you just take everything a little too seriously, and you take the criticism too seriously, and sometimes you take the compliments too seriously too. But I think most of the time we take the criticism too seriously, and I think that the way through that is just really difficult of constantly trying to submit yourself to the work that God wants to do in you to grow you into the person you want to be and you want God to use you as. And that is just, it's just inherently a really painful process.